For 27 years, ancient Greece was locked in a brutal struggle between its two most powerful city-states. What happens when two powerhouses can't stand to share the spotlight? Watch the video till the end and answer a fascinating question. The roots of the conflict. The Peloponnesian War didn't erupt overnight. Its roots stretched back to the aftermath of the Persian Wars. Athens, having played a pivotal role in repelling the Persian invasion, emerged as a dominant naval power. The city-state formed the Delian League, a coalition of Greek city-states intended to defend against future Persian threats. However, as Athens grew in wealth and influence, it began to use the League's resources to expand its empire, which alarmed Sparta and its allies in the Peloponnesian League, a military coalition of city-states led by Sparta. Sparta, a militaristic society built around its disciplined army and oligarchic rule, viewed Athens' expanding power and democratic ideals as a direct threat to their way of life. The tensions between the two powers steadily increased, culminating in Athens' economic sanctions against Corinth, a prominent member of the Peloponnesian League, and its support for a revolt in Potidæa, a city controlled by Sparta. These actions led to the formal declaration of war by Sparta in 431 BCE, setting the stage for one of the most brutal and transformative conflicts in ancient history, the Archidamian War. The first phase of the war, known as the Archidamian War, was named after the Spartan king Archidamus II. The conflict was primarily fought on land and sea, with the two sides adopting very different strategies. Sparta, with its unparalleled army, focused on devastating Athens by targeting its agricultural land. Every year, Sparta invaded the Athenian countryside, laying waste to crops and livestock, hoping to cripple Athens' economy and force it to negotiate. The Spartans knew they couldn't directly assault the heavily fortified city of Athens, but hoped the pressure would eventually break Athens' resolve. Athens, under the leadership of Pericles, avoided direct land battles, knowing they could not win a contest of strength against Sparta. Instead, they relied on their superior navy, using it to conduct raids along the Peloponnesian coast and maintain control of crucial trade routes. Pericles also encouraged Athens' population to retreat behind the city walls, relying on the navy to supply food and materials from their colonies and allies. However, Athens faced a catastrophic setback in 430 BCE when a plague swept through the city, exacerbated by overcrowding. The plague killed tens of thousands, including the brilliant leader Pericles. His death left Athens without a strong guiding hand, leading to internal strife and instability that would prolong the conflict. The Peace of Nicias. After years of destructive warfare, both sides were exhausted, and in 421 BCE, a fragile truce known as the Peace of Nicias was signed. It was meant to last 50 years, however, it was shaky at best, with both sides engaging in minor skirmishes and proxy conflicts. Both Athens and Sparta took advantage of the peace to strengthen their positions. During this period, Athens attempted to expand its influence further. In 415 BCE, Athens launched the disastrous Sicilian expedition, aiming to conquer the wealthy city-state of Syracuse in Sicily, hoping to secure crucial resources and an additional base of power in the western Mediterranean. The Sicilian expedition turned into a catastrophe. The Athenian fleet and army, which numbered tens of thousands, were decisively defeated. The fleet was destroyed, and the army was either killed or captured. The loss not only shattered Athens' military strength but also its morale. The once proud city was now deeply vulnerable, and Sparta, emboldened by this success, resumed hostilities with renewed vigor. The Ionian War. The final phase of the Peloponnesian War, known as the Ionian War, saw a major shift in the balance of power. Sparta, having traditionally relied on its land forces, now turned to the sea. With financial backing from the Persian Empire, which had its own interests in weakening Athens, Sparta built a powerful navy capable of challenging Athens' dominance at sea. Spartan naval commander Lysander emerged as one of the war's most important figures. His strategic brilliance led to a series of devastating victories against Athens. The most significant of these was the Battle of Aegospotami in 405 BCE, a catastrophic loss for Athens, where Lysander's fleet destroyed the Athenian navy, effectively crippling Athens' ability to defend itself. The fall of Athens. With its navy destroyed and its trade routes cut off, Athens faced economic collapse and starvation. The once thriving city-state was on its knees. Finally, in 404 BCE, Athens, weakened and exhausted, was forced to surrender to Sparta. The terms of surrender were harsh. Athens had to dismantle its empire, tear down its city walls, and accept Spartan hegemony in Greece. Sparta emerged victorious, but the cost was high. The war had drained its resources and exhausted its people. Sparta's hold over Greece was tenuous at best, and it soon faced internal rebellion and discontent from its allies. The historian Thucydides, who lived through the conflict, wrote a detailed account of the war, which stands as one of the most significant works of ancient history. His writings focused on the moral and political decay that resulted from the war, beginning of a new era. The Peloponnesian War brought an end to an era for the Greek city-states, leaving them weakened and divided. Amid the chaos, an unlikely contender, Macedon, a relatively small and weaker kingdom in northern Greece, emerged as a rising power. This turmoil created the perfect opportunity for a new chapter in Greek history, one that saw Greece rise to unprecedented power and influence across the world. In 359 BCE, nearly 70 years after the war's end, Philip II of Macedon ascended to the throne. Through a masterful blend of diplomacy and military strength, he transformed Macedon from a minor state into a dominant force, uniting the fragmented Greek city-states and forging a powerful, centralized kingdom. This unification laid the groundwork for a new era of Greek dominance. His son, Alexander the Great, later used this unified Greece as a springboard for his legendary conquests, spreading Greek culture and power far beyond its borders. What would have happened if Sparta had maintained its dominance, or if Athens had successfully defended against Sparta's attack? In both scenarios, we might never have heard of Alexander the Great. Could the course of history have been different from what we know today? Share your thoughts in the comments.